You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jason J. Tavares Show for right-brained entertainers. Last week, you guys saw the intro to the show, and tonight, I have an actual guest. I wasn't going to talk to you for a half hour. Last time I talked to you guys for 16 minutes in the intro, all by myself. I ran out of stuff to talk about. Actually, that's a lie. I could have kept talking for like an hour, but I didn't want to talk your ear off. But tonight, I have an actual guest, Jeremy Tolleson. He is a singer and a songwriter, and he's right here today, Rhode Islander, to speak to Rhode Island about his many skills in the right-brained realm of the brain.
This hemisphere, I believe that is.
The other side of your head, yep. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Great to see you, Jay.
You too. So what can you tell me about these songs that you write?
Well, I guess it depends on where you want to start. If I would start with what first inspired me, I think that'd be a good starting point.
Okay, sounds good.
I come from, I guess, I never really thought about it, but I suppose I do kind of come from a family of musicians, or at least my immediate family. My mom and my dad both played instruments. My mom played piano,
nice.
So I grew up listening to her play classical piano, and when she wasn't playing it on the piano, she was listening to classical records and also classic rock and Spanish classical and reggae. So I kind of had a little, mix in there of some.
And that's since you were little, right?
Yeah, since I was very young.
So it did wear off on you pretty well.
Yeah, I grew up just, with the sound of my mother playing classical piano and echoing in my ears,
Nice.
So I grew up with an appreciation for that style of music, and the historical background of it is certainly amazing what they were able to produce back then.
Oh, yeah.
But also an appreciation for classic rock and even reggae,
Now, did you write back then when you were a child, or was that something that, like the last 5 years, 10 years?
I think like a typical child, you pick up a guitar, you kind of make some noise and it looks like you're kind of playing, and then you sing some random lyrics and you call it a song. I did some of that,
Hey, I still do that today, don't feel
Yeah, I remember. I heard you in the shower.
with a broom and
yeah,
all kinds of stuff.
But yeah, so I grew up playing that. I didn't really get serious until later on in life, but I briefly took guitar lessons when I was 10 years old, and about a year in, the teacher had me playing Old MacDonald Had a Farm still, and Mary Had a Little Lamb. Not knocking those are classics. They're great songs, but I was playing like Bon Jovi and Metallica on my own, and I was kind of like, yeah, right, of course, you can't pick up a guitar without learning that. So.
I think that's the most popular
Deep
song,
Purple,
probably,
Smoke
right?
on the Water, and Crazy Train. You have to know those riffs if you are a guitarist.
Yep.
That's mandatory. So yeah, I had those going on my own, and I kind of said after a while, forget this. And I played around for a while, didn't really do anything with it. Wrote a couple songs. I wrote one song. I've been in other bands. I wrote one song that I actually wrote in high school that like 10 years later we used it in a band.
What's the name of that song?
In the End.
That's a cool name.
Yeah. So, like I said, I didn't get serious until after, I was like 23 or so. And then some old friends of mine from high school were like, hey, you're back in town, because I had been out and away and stuff. And they were like, hey, he's back, let's start a band. So we started a band, we did covers, and that was actually a good starting point to kind of learn some other chords and some other, ways to write songs. And so we did that for, I was probably in that band for like a year and a half, and I got tired of the covers. I wanted to write my own originals. So after that, I was in original band after original band, and various types of projects. A lot of heavy metal at first, and hard rock, that kind of stuff. And
did you have the long hair back then?
Oh yeah, of course.
Nice.
Yeah, that was also mandatory. So. Yeah, I had to grow it long because, I for 9 years I couldn't grow it long. So private high school and then 5 years in the military.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I got out and I said, hey, I'm going to grow my hair long because I can.
Well, they frown upon the long hair.
And I haven't shaved since either. I just trim it.
Nice.
You know. So, yeah. So we started a band, did covers for a while. It was a good foundation. Then I did originals, and none of those bands were unfortunately productive enough to actually get to the point of professionally recording. Then I did get with a band. We actually professionally recorded 2 albums.
Nice.
And you know, that was good, but artistically it wasn't really where I wanted to be. It was cool to see some of the stuff I had originally written actually make it to an album and get fully, you know, produced and recorded and everything. That, you know, that was very exciting. You know, went to see an idea come to fruition. So after being in those bands and everything like that, I pretty much got out of the bands and decided to go back to school for a while. And the only playing I did was at my church's youth group. So I lead like worship music for my youth group every once in a while, you know.
Now, putting the music to the words, how hard is that?
It's definitely a process that, for me, it doesn't usually happen simultaneously. So sometimes I'll come up with a riff. I'll hear something in my head and I'll just kind of start playing it, and I will start singing something, but usually it's like I'll repeat a line or two and kind of get a feel for the melody, and then later on I'll write lyrics. And other times, probably more often, what I do is I write lyrics and then I put music to it, you know. So I'll come up with a riff, or I'll have a riff already that I don't have any lyrics or melody towards, and I'll go, you know what, this actually might fit when I put these two together, and that's kind of how I usually form a song.
Now, with a typical song, like let's say the song's duration, for instance, is 3 minutes long, and let's say you didn't have a job, you didn't have anything like that, and your whole focus was just music. How long do you think it would take you to take the lyrics that you wrote, the music that you want to apply for it or working toward applying for it, and putting it together if you didn't have, you know, regular life like everybody else does?
Yeah, without the regular life. Oh, that is, we're talking about fantasy now.
Yeah, let's say it's fantasy land. Well, kind of like this, it's fantasy land.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. We're in the zone now,
yeah,
so.
It's right-brained entertainers.
I would probably be able to put together a solid album in a couple months. I would say.
10 songs or 12 or?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess, I don't even know, these days albums are really not as big a thing as releasing a song and getting it on iTunes or something, you know, but yeah, I could put together probably an album of anywhere from 7 to 12 songs in a couple months, you know, if I had the time to really cultivate the ideas and really draw them out, flesh them out, as they say, I guess.
Now, is this something you're going to continually do on the side, or are you going to every now and again, or because I know, like we talked about, you have regular life like everybody else?
Yeah, the regular life does get in the way. It does. There's a lot of distractions, if you would call them that, but you know, the regular life can also be really good. So
you need both. You have to have balance, right?
Yeah, I get a lot of, you know, inspiration from regular life. So regular life's good, but it tends to lend itself to busyness, you know. Yeah. So you get caught up in the daily humdrum and the routines, but inspiration tends to just come, you know, involuntarily. Yeah. So I've actually put down the guitar for a couple of years at one point, because I was like, every time I picked it up, it kind of let me, I felt like I was missing something. Yeah. By not being in a band or a project. So it was kind of like a source of frustration more than anything at that point. I said, you know what, I'm just going to put it away. Maybe I'll sell everything. And I did. I sold all my electric stuff, and I sold my amps and most of my guitars. Actually, at one point when I was kind of like in between careers, I actually sold my prized amp and speaker cabinet to pay rent.
How painful was that to do that?
That was painful, but yeah, I will say it was a sense of pride, I think, that actually came with that, being able to let something go and for the needs of my family.
Oh, you know? Well, that supersedes it, of course.
Absolutely. So it was, I wouldn't even say it was bittersweet. It was just kind of like, this is what has to be done, so this is what I'm doing, you know. So it was actually sitting in my dining room anyway, in a corner, waiting for the next band, and I finally said, you know what, the next band comes along, I'll be happy to find a way to get the new amp and, you know, start over from scratch or whatever. And later on, my real prized possession was a 20-year-old Gibson electric guitar I had, Gibson Les Paul, and just like the amp that was sitting in my spare bedroom for about 3-4 years waiting for the next project to start up. And I finally said, you know what, I'm going to turn this into something cool. And I didn't want cash for it. I wanted something, that I didn't want to blow it on like a TV and like a chair and some groceries. So I was like, I want to turn this into something cool. Yeah. And I ended up getting actually 2 motorcycles for 1 guitar.
Wow. It was worth that much, huh?
It was, yeah.
Signed
it
by
was a limited edition.
People,
no, other than me.
Yeah.
Not that I'm famous, but
I got to stop you there. You know why? Something I want to bring up on this show, and I'm going to use him as an example. Maybe you're not famous on television, big-time television and all that. What you do is equally as important as what somebody does who's making $1 million doing it. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but I want to get that across.
No, that's cool.
And I'm going to grab onto every guest that comes in here and tell them the same. So I'm sorry about that. I want you to continue, but your dreams are just as important as someone who's already making it.
Absolutely, man. And leading off of just that very thing, the whole reason why I'm actually even here and why I'm still writing and playing is because whenever I go to a family or friends, a gathering, I go up to visit my family in upstate New York, and they're always like, hey, play this song, play that song, or we have some friends over, and I end up playing songs for them and stuff. So, if you have that gift to play or, whatever it is, whether you paint pictures or write books or play an instrument, you've been given that gift for a reason, and that's to bless those around you. So
you have to empower yourself despite what other people say.
Yeah, so you don't really need to be famous. You don't need to be a rock star or anything to really enjoy that gift and use it for why you were given it. So
now with all this right-brained talk, I'm like all pumped up now. This is about as pumped as I get, unless I'm angry about something. But this I get inside.
Hey, I'm glad this is it because it's kind of intense.
I like right-brained activity, and I have to ask you: did you bring any music with you today?
I did. Yeah.
Can you play a song?
Sure.
Awesome. That'd be great.
You want a short one or a long one?
Whatever's your favorite song. Well, now let me ask you this: the song you're gonna play, like you already have one in mind?
Yeah, I have a couple in mind. Sure.
Okay. The one you want to play. What's the story behind it, real quick?
So I guess what I'll do is I'll play a short warm-up song.
Okay.
And it's something. I guess it was almost an anomaly in terms of how I came up with it because I was listening to some like historic folk music. I don't even know where I heard it. It might have been in a movie, and I was like, that sounds really amazing. And I just got this idea in my head, and it just kind of stuck there. And I sat down, and I just started kind of plucking this very almost foreign rhythm to a song, this foreign type of style anyway, and I just started putting lyrics to it. And, like I said before, I just kind of make up a few and repeat it. And very shortly after, I kind of just wrote out the rest of it. And I didn't really think it was a song. I didn't think it was finished. I thought, well, I'll do something with this later. And I started playing the idea from a friend. I don't even know how I got there, but he was like, hey, you got anything new or anything or whatever? And so I showed him this, and I was like, it's not finished. And because I was playing it for somebody, I thought, well, I'll make it kind of sound finished, so I'll repeat, a part and then just recap. And I did that, and he was like, you wrote that? That was like, he was like, that's pretty cool, man. You should do something with that. And I was like, oh, it's not really finished. He's like, it's not. It sounds good the way it is. And I played it for my wife, and she was like, yeah, it's really good the way it is. You don't need to add anything. Like, you're right. I don't need to add anything. It's a song. You're
very hard on yourself. That's how I am, too, with the stuff I do.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, it's the only way you get better, right?
If I had a collaborator, like when we're talking about Fantasyland, if I didn't have, real life in the way of everything, I would still want a collaborator, just somebody to bounce ideas off. I work the best under those circumstances where I can come up with a core idea and then bounce it off somebody.
And the best person to probably be a collaborator is somebody that gives you, tell me if I'm wrong, a 100% honest answer, like.
Absolutely.
If someone says, hey, does this tie look stupid? And they're like, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
describe where you want to be as an artist in terms of feedback is this, or delineate it in this way. You get a positive response from people like, oh, that was good. And that's nice to know. They didn't say it sucked and they didn't look bored. But the worst response is when you get no response. And you finish the song and people are just kind of like, was he doing something? Was that,
that must,
So tough. I've gotten those, all those songs those got shelved. Those went away. So I was like, hey, if I can't, if people don't have any reaction, that's the worst reaction. I'd rather you say, man, that song sucks. Why did you even bother wasting my time? I just lost 3 minutes of my life, man. I'd be like, oh, thank you. Appreciate the feedback. I will make sure that I never play that again or something, but or play it a lot. I don't know. It depends on if I like the person.
Let's hear what you got here today. I want to hear this song that you're thinking of here.
Sounds good.
You said it's what, 3 minutes or 5 minutes?
This one, I'm just gonna play this short little thing that I wrote.
Okay.
So.
What do you think about the cup, by the way? Next time you come on the show, I'll have a cup for you.
I think you're real early. You're real early, but I like that. You're
or a couple
of
weeks
game.
late, right?
A few weeks late, but hey, I'm not judging, man. I think it's festive, and I like festive.
Yeah,
so.
I like it. It's different. You don't see elf cups every day.
True story. Not enough of them these days. It's not the same. It's not the same world we grew up in.
No, it's not.
No elf cups around.
No
like
phones
they
like
used to be.
this.
So. Down in the garden of stone and daisy, nobles and nomads lay both comfortably. Kings and queens reside in their chambers, peasants and priests, the greatest, the least. Down in the garden of stone and daisy, lazy white cypress and sycamore trees drink from the sun as they dance with the breeze. Alongside the banks of babbling streams, lovers and laborers, tears and sweet dreams. On in the garden of stone and daisy, down in the garden of stone and daisy, under the wings of shadow sheltering, beneath the warm blanket of withering leaves, a hope for those who summon the King. Down in the garden of stone and daisy, down in the garden of stone and daisy.
If we had a studio audience, I know they'd be clapping too. That's a great song. Now, when
I
you
hear them in my
that
head.
song there, I can picture like a monk maybe in a movie, like maybe like an 1800s, 1700s movie, and he's walking like down a dirt road, and he's like thinking about like a past life or something like that. That'd be a great beginning on a film.
Thank you. It was some film, and that kind of inspired it, and not that I, ripped it off, because I just got a feeling. You know what I mean? There was this.
I might have you do that at the beginning of one of my films.
I'd love to, man.
That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. And it has that kind of. It feels like something you would hear around the 1800s or
Yeah.
19th century. Kind
Like a
of
Friar
feel
Tuck
to it. Yeah.
feel. I mean, that was
Yeah.
before that, but I mean, it's that.
I haven't quite nailed down what period that would exactly be from, but that was, it's folk, but it also has this, kind of Celtic or Victorian, historical sound to it.
Definitely.
So
That could also be a song for somebody in modern times going to go live, I won't say backwards, Jesus, but I mean, going to go live more primitive
right.
than we live today. I mean, he's going like from modern times and like he's giving everything up because he's sick of stuff, and he goes to live somewhere else. That's a good song for that too, to show the transition.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could use that for a lot of stuff. Do you have any other music you'd like to play today?
Yeah, you want me to go right into another
What's
one?
the name of What's the name of that one, by the way?
So that one's called Down in the Garden.
Down in the Garden. Okay. And what's the next one called?
So the next one, I guess if we have time, I'll do a longer one.
Okay. We have time here, guys. Cool.
Got time.
Want to
All
do
right,
a
cool.
4 minute
So-
or 3 minute song?
So yeah, so I had this song. It's kind of a how do I describe it? I don't write like to capture a genre or to jump into what some movement exactly is doing. I kind of write and I pool all my various experiences together. So you hear this next song, it's not going to sound like the last one. But I think it kind of shows a little bit of the dynamics that I have when I play. I get a feeling from a style of music and I go with it. I don't care what that style is. So this is kind of it's almost like a throwback. It's intended to sound kind of ironic. It captures a little bit of Elvis, a little bit of, I probably shouldn't have started with Elvis because that'll get your brain going in one direction, but Johnny Cash-ish, I would say. Maybe a little Bob Dylan, and but it's got kind of a little bit of a modern folk kind of twist to it, I guess.
Nice, let's hear it.
So I'll let it go.
This is great for everybody at home too, because they get to see somebody doing music who wants to aspire to, get the music noticed, but they're not already there at the $1 million, billion-dollar level. So this is great to have you doing this.
So this song's called Black and Blues. It has an unusual song structure to it. It's kind of long and intense.
Cool.
So. Between heaven and hell, it's a winding road where souls are bought and sold. Between heaven and hell, it's a raging storm where shadows are lost and reborn. That his eyes looked black and blue. They looked like craters on the surface of the dark side of the moon. His face was as long as the weary road he traveled, unraveled him all by himself, but not alone. He was heading for the east, he was fed up with the west, going 0285 and praying, gotta give him rest. When help is back home, you gotta hit the road and hope for the best. He was swimming in whiskey, he was drowning in gin. He was shooting wild turkey and living in sin, running from the past and the demons from within. He was trapped in a prison cell, made up his sin, oh yeah. When help is like home, you gotta hit the road and hope for the best. I said when help is like home, you gotta hit the road and hope for the best. When help is like home, you gotta hit the road and hope for the best. So he tried to hold it in till it started leaching out like poison in his bones, till he ached and he groaned. His ticker was toxic like brimstone on his breath. His mouth was an open grave, speaking solely of death. Oh, he gnashed his teeth and wept with a fire in his lungs. They say you can tell when a man's been through hell by the fork in his tongue. Oh Lord, you never gave up on me through the dark times I've had. I thank you, Lord, for giving me, even though I've been so bad. Redemption, it doesn't come easy, but salvation always is free. 'Cause 2,000 years ago you sent your son to die on that cross for me. Yeah, for sinners just like me. outside of the moon. His face was as long as the weary road he traveled, unraveled and all by himself, but not alone. Not alone. Well, I'll never to catch his name, but my husband will say it's a shame, but I think they were one and the same, so I'm pretty sure it's for the best. Well, the truth is that he was the devil in me, and I beat him up, shot him straight back to hell, and left him for dead. Between heaven and hell, it's a winding road where souls are bought and sold. Between heaven and hell, it's a raging storm where shadows are lost and reborn. It stretches on forever. Choose the narrow side. The other path is beaten, and the gate is open wide. And the answer's so simple, but the life she ain't so easy. Deny yourself, pick up your cross and follow me.
Awesome song. We're going to be wrapping up the show here in about a minute. I wanted to say thank you again.
Pleasure.
Your music is awesome, and it's always great talking with you, and I do appreciate you being on the show, and I want you on the show in the future.
Absolutely.
Anything you'd like to leave everybody with today?
No, man, just thank you for joining us. Thank you for having me on, man. It's been a pleasure, and always good hanging out with you.
Nice.
So,
Where can the music be found if somebody wants to hear this music?
Well, I tell you what, I haven't started really recording this. This is a new project for me. I have probably already about 6 songs, give or take, that are solid that I'm ready to record. But look for me on Facebook, Jeremy Tolleson.
Nice.
Pretty sure I'm the only one. There's actually a red-headed soccer player. Seems like a pretty nice guy, but it's not me. So hence no red hair. But cool. Jeremy Tolleson.
Nice. Thanks again. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks again, man.
Okay, everybody. Well, that wraps up the first, not the intro show, but the first actual show of the Jason J. Tavares show for right-brained entertainers. And I had a guest today, Jeremy Tolleson. Once again, thank you very much for being on the show. I'd like to end with saying, if you'd like to check out my books, I have them all right here, The Shadow Inside, Existence, The Tale of a Fanged Killer, and Broken Tracks Beneath Forgotten Windows. They can all be found on Amazon.com under my name, Jason J. Tavares, and all my films as well on YouTube under the same name. For all you right-brained people up there, if you want to be on my show, all you got to do is email me. I'd love to have you on the show. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.